Welcome, listeners and viewers, Season 2 of Half Haunted. I am your host, Candy, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Raji. This season is about urban legends, lore, cemeteries, famous haunted places, and serial killers.
Welcome, my special co-host, Raji. Hello, Raji.
Hello. How are
Hello.
you?
This is good. How are you?
I'm good.
So this is a Veterans Day paranormal episode. We'll be talking about ghostly encounters for paranormal military stuff. Our first up is ghostly encounters aboard the USS Hornet. USS Hornet, celebrated for her service in World War II and Vietnam War, earned numerous commendations for her outstanding performance and operations. Besides her military achievements, she was notably involved as a prime recovery vessels for Apollo 11 and 12 missions. Throughout its years of service, approximately 300 of her crew members perished due to accidents or suicides. Today, permanently docked in San Francisco, USS Hornet is infamous for its paranormal activity. Visitors and tour guides often report eerie occurrences such as hearing disembodied voices and sighting spectral figures such as soldiers wandering the decks. Additionally, there are frequent reports of electronic malfunctions with equipment spontaneously turning. Now a prime location for ghost tours, the USS Hornet, reputed as America's most haunted ship, offering more than just tours. The Hornet invites the brave-hearted to experience an overnight stay aboard the decommissioned World War II era ship. This gives guests a closer look at areas known for their paranormal activity and perhaps a chance to encounter the Hornet's spectral 50-member ghost crew. It's a lot. For those fascinated by haunted history and seeking adventurous experience, a visit to the U.S. Hornet provides an unforgettable encounter with the past and lingering spirits. So, of course, for the viewers and listeners, especially for the viewers, I'll provide pictures and the information on the ship and where you can see her and how much all that good stuff is. But I've seen like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunter, all those shows. They have episodes on that too. So if anybody
Right on.
takes that. There's also the famous USS Arizona. I have a great uncle that perished on the USS Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, my grandma Mo's brother on the USS Arizona. He's down below with the rest.
Living it up in Hawaii, huh?
He wrote a letter to my granny, my great grandmother, on the USS Arizona letterhead. So I have a letterhead from him to her, and I have his death commission letter that I have in a frame. So that's my space.
That's pretty cool.
I'll picture him at the end of the podcast for the YouTube viewers too, so you'll see what he looks like. So,
right on.
Yeah. The USS Arizona, World War II era Navy ship. The USS Arizona, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the Arizona tragically became a mass tomb for the 1,102 individuals who perished on board, and it now serves as both underwater graveyard and memorial to those died during the devastating attack. Many believe that the souls of the deceased did not find peace and continue to haunt the area. Today, officers attribute a range of eerie occurrences near the USS Arizona to a ghost nicknamed Charlie. This famous apparition is reportedly harmless, known only for turning on water faucets and causing heavy doors to swing open and shut. Another spirit, however, stirs more fear. Allegedly, a sailor who deserted his post during the bombings now haunts the deck of the ship at low tide, invoking fear and sadness in those who visit the memorial. They have one guy that turns on the water and then shuts the door, and then the other one that invokes fear and sadness. Yeah, it's crazy though. This is just general stuff that people have claimed over the years.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I didn't know, so I was like, I don't know that was haunted. I've been there. And I'm like, no idea.
To
So
the Pearl Harbor?
I've never been there.
It's cool looking, at least from the sky. And I know
Yeah.
at one point it was closed down for some reason. I think it was an oil leakage or something. And this is within the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this happened. It might be opened up again. But the only reason why I'm like, it's like flying, to New York on 4th of July. I did that at night once. You got to see the fireworks and Statue of Liberty. Like, we left early at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we got to see, I'm like, I wonder. And I never knew the airport was basically right next door to the memorial. So I love me a window seat, plus I'm tall. And I got to see it. You got to smash and do that weird look. But I'm like, that's really cool. But I've never, ever got a chance to visit. I'll have to see if we ever make it to the Big Island again at some point in our life. We will go and actually see it and go from there. But it's very, very interesting.
Be nice to see where my great uncle is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
our next spot is Fort Leavenworth. Fort Leavenworth is renowned as one of the most haunted military installations in America. It continues to be an active site. Many claim it is populated with numerous ghosts that haunt the buildings and landscapes. Among its famous spectral residents is General George Armstrong Custer, whose spirit allegedly lingers in the general's residence. Even though he didn't die there, his presence is attributed to the court marshaled for mistreatment and desertion of his command. However, certain buildings are said to be more intensely haunted than others, with rookery. What is that? Rookery?
Mm-hmm.
At 14th Summer Place being recognized as both the oldest and most haunted site. Reports from U.S. Army detail a variety of eerie occurrences experienced by its residents, ranging from vanishing objects to unexplained noises to ghostly figures. Notably, one spirit, a long-haired woman, is said to assault inhabitants by scratching them. Yeah, that's pretty scary when you're being assaulted. No assailant, you know what I mean? It's always scary.
Yeah.
Another site of high paranormal activity is the St. Ignatius Chapel which has undergone multiple reconstructions due to fires. Currently, a house occupies its original site where witnesses have reported sightings of a young priestess ghost, a former casualty of a fire. Moreover, the chapel was rebuilt after mysteriously burned down in 2000.
Wow.
So apparently it should be rebuilding something if it keeps burning down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Leave it alone.
Yeah. In totality, Fort Leavenworth hosts over 36 haunted sites, specifically Tower 8 of the old disciplinary barracks demolished in 2004. Still has reports of a soldier spirit who ended his life there. Now supposedly contacts the guard control room. This site was also a scene of harsh executions following a World War II prisoner revolt, where excess executions were carried out in the elevator shaft, leading to reports of ghostly screams when the elevator is empty. Yeah, if I'm on an elevator, I'm hearing screams and no one's in there with me. Yeah,
Taking the stairs.
exactly. Yeah, I'm not a stair person. God
Neither
knows I need the
am.
Stairmaster 5000, but I'm taking the stairs.
Yeah, I'm taking the
I'm
stairs.
out. That's your side. Take the stairs.
Yes.
Nothing. So the rookery stands out as the most haunted area in the base, previously serving as the base commander's quarters before being transformed into family housing. Among its spectral residents, the Lady in White, thought to have been killed by local tribes during a period when soldiers were away. Her cries and pursuits of nighttime onlookers are well noted. Also, residing there are Major Edmund Ogden, believed to be overseeing the spectral inhabitants who died in 1855, along with a young girl named Rose. her nanny, and a young man named Robert. Rose is known for her whistles throughout the building, while Major Odigen's ghost reportedly walks endless in spur boots and has even asked ghost hunters to vacate his premises.
Okay,
So
what
be
to
like,
get out? Get out.
You no more. I'm out.
Yeah, like, mm-hmm.
You don't have to ask me twice. I'm out.
No.
So that's creepy. Yeah, the elevator part. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up is Jefferson Barracks. So Jefferson Barracks, that's in St. Louis. That's not too far from here. That's going to be my next summer tour, next season's stuff. So Jefferson Barracks were officially established October 23rd, 1826 as a tribute to President Thomas Jefferson, who died earlier that same year. Over the centuries, the site was served as various functions, including a hospital, cemetery, and the staging area, a military staging area. The Jefferson Barracks in Missouri, now utilized by the Army and Air National Guard, reportedly remain under watchful eye of a spectral cemetery who bears a bullet wound in his head. According to local lore, this apparition still believes he is guarding the area during mutations raid, mistaking living soldiers for enemies. One tale recounts that a soldier was so terrified by the sight of a bloody guard that he deserted his post and left the army for good.
Wow.
That's nuts. Another intriguing account from the past during Halloween celebration at the Veterans Hospital located within the barracks. The guests reported seeing a ghost from the Civil War era, dressed in an impressively authentic Civil War's officer's uniform. The spectral figure engaged briefly with the host. When asked about his enjoyment of the party, the ghost responded pertly before vanishing. Subsequently, inquiries about this mysterious guest yielded no clues, as nobody recognized him or recalled anyone attending in that costume. So the ghost just thought, well, let me just go up here and chit chat with these people. And then he got ticked off that they were there, and then he just can't. I'm out. Like I do back in the day. Remember? I'm out. Didn't say goodbye to anyone.
I'm done.
And I was out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, imagine that. I would shit my pants. I
Right.
saw somebody, and they were talking to me, and he got offended and left. And, didn't you say so-and-so? There was nobody there by that time.
Right.
Yes, there was. And that would make you think you're crazy. Like, I gotta visit this place. But right down the street is the cemetery. It's a big cemetery that has Lewis Clark, a lot of Civil War soldiers. Because, Missouri is a Southern Confederate state.
Yeah.
Illinois is not.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I want to visit that area.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. That'll probably be spring, summertime. This one comes out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Here's another good word. Indigenous.
Yeah. You got it.
History and, yes, Indigenous history and hauntings of F.E. Warren Air Force Base, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Operates under a global strike command of the United States Air Force and is responsible for managing all USICMBS long before it became a hub for nuclear capabilities. Wyoming has home to local native tribes, including the Crow Creek Indians, initially established a Fort D.A. Russell in the area and shield railroad workers from attacks by indigenous tribes. Unfortunately, this led to numerous tragic encounters in which many Crow Creek people were killed. For over a century, there have been accounts of ghostly cavalry troops patrolling the base at night, a chilling reminder intended to deter the native population. F.E. Warren Air Force Base is reputed as one of the most haunted locations in Wyoming and possibly across the United States. One of the most well-known ghost stories of the base involves the ghost of Gus Borders. What a name.
Mm-hmm.
What a name. Gus, according to local lore, Gus was a man entangled in a scandalous affair with the opposite
Oh.
wife. I know. Scandalous. In a
Mhm.
frantic attempt to avoid a confrontation with the enraged husband, Gus leaped from a second-story window only to meet his untimely death by accidentally hitting himself with the clothesline, cursed to roam the base eternally as a spectral figure. To this
Wow.
day, right? Imagine you're banging somebody's slapping them cheeks, banging, tapping them cheeks, and your husband comes home. You're running for your out the window you go. You think, I made it? Just maybe a possum, broken leg, broken ankle, and clothesline kills you.
Wow.
And then you're cursed to roam the base for eternity.
I'd be mad. I would be mad.
Yeah, what a way. 1 minute you're clapping cheeks, and the next minute you're rowing the base. With your pants down to your ankle. I mean, let's be real. I mean, thank you to those veterans. Thank
How
you.
big was
This
how
is
high
half
up
on it.
is this building still there? Do we need to take a tour?
How
Is the
far is, I
clothesline
wonder how
still there?
far,
Where are we at? This Air Force is in
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Okay.
Yeah, Cheyenne. I don't know. We need to find Gus. See if he's still around. Gus, are you there? That would be embarrassing. Okay, he's not hanging from his butt cheeks. So he's hanging on himself, but he didn't have no
I
clothes on.
mean,
You're banging the opposite wife, cheeks. I mean, you hang yourself and your balls low.
I'm I'm trying to figure out how high was this building. I wonder if the building is still there. Then we have to figure out where the clothesline was located. Well, since it's if it's still military, they probably won't let you see but so much. Who knows? It's like Area 51.
Now we're gonna have to investigate this further.
Yes,
I want to
we are.
know the metrics. Like, is it 2, 3 story? How did the
Yes.
rope? How did it not snap? Because those clothesline are not that. Was it best of the day? Like, it didn't give a year or nothing. He probably didn't have no clothes on, and he tripped. Bam! Caught his neck, and his balls are hanging. You know, did he shave? I mean, imagine the
Now
embarrassment.
you know them fools
They're
wasn't
out
shaving.
there, spread eagle, like this. I mean, on a military base, God rest his soul, yes. But geez,
Yeah.
I need to
Did he get a Purple Heart after that? Was it an honorable? You hear this? Honorable
well,
discharge. I mean, we
no,
don't know.
seriously, he was committing adultery. We don't know what year this was. We don't know. We gotta find
Yeah.
this out. Yes, unsolved mysteries. We need to do this.
But true.
No.
And you don't do it on base.
Purple Heart.
He
No,
does.
yeah, that's not Purple Heart worthy.
No. Yeah. Wrong. Just wrong.
Okay, we'll move on. Gus,
We're
we'll
going.
figure
Yeah.
it down. Okay. Anyway, the next one. So we're going haunted sites, Kadena Air Base in Japan. Building 2283 and Kadena Air Base, designated for field officers, remain unoccupied. Interestingly, this vacancy isn't due to a lack of occupants, but rather, according to local legends, because a spectral samurai courtier seen riding through its room.
Wow.
Additional eerie occurrences reported at this location include a woman washing her hair in the sink, curtains that mysteriously open on their own. Unconnected, right? What if you're like on the house naked and all of a sudden they just surprise, or you're taking a crap? People, I don't know. Unconnected phones ringing and lights and faucets operating by themselves. Phenomena like that. I could not be doing that. If a phone is unplugged and you don't have it plugged into electricity, it's ringing. No. Just like in that one movie, Black Phone. Have you ever seen that movie?
No. I didn't see the movie, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It came out, like 2 years ago?
You gotta watch that, but I won't give it away. Anyway, I'll keep continuing. Humorously enough, would likely perturb any spectral presence worried about utility costs. putting on the water. Oh, that's funny. Former residents have reported unsettling signs such as blood stains on the carpet and curtains, an unexplainable chill in a particular room, the scene of a tragic incident where a teenager was fatally stabbed by her stepfather. There are also stories of a Marine Corps officer who reportedly killed his wife in the same house, adding to the chilling atmosphere that the home's proximity to a daycare center and its location across the street from the tomb of Okinawan samurai warrior. So they're like that.
Well, all right.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Mostly Gate Guard of Cadena. So it's another one in the same little area. The old Gate 3 at Cadena also harbors its share of ghostly tales, becoming almost the stuff of folklore. It's frequented by the ghost of a World War II era soldier gruesomely covered in blood who would ask passerby for a light or a cigarette. Due to the unsettling activity, this gate was closed and a new one is under construction in its place. Who would be keen to a man a gate alongside apparitions? I would. Persistent appearances of the spectral soldier on occasion and other Japanese soldiers from the 1990s were noteworthy enough to be documented in the 2000 book of Ghosts of Okinawa, leading many to speculate that the haunting past was too unnerving for regular use. The next one is Guantanamo Bay. So the Bayview complex at Guantanamo Bay, originally constructed in 1943 as the Officers Club of the base, is now reputedly haunted by 4 eternal spirits that reside in the upstairs terrace room. One prominent ghost, known as the Woman in White, appears as an elderly lady with long hair, dressed in a flowing white gown. She often occupies a chair, gazing out towards the parking lot. Legend has it that she lived in the apartment within the club before her lifeless body was discovered in the bathtub. Additionally, the wives of base commanders have reported sightings of a man dressed in khakis moving from the living room to the bathroom of the commanding officer's residence. In 2007, Paul O'Leary, who was present in the house at the time, felt that the ghost merely sought the comfort of knowing someone else was there. Considering that the location housed Marine camps from 1901 to 1920, the spectral figure might not just be an officer, but instead a seasoned Marine from an earlier era, which makes sense. Or it could be someone else.
Fort Monroe. The renowned poet Edgar Allan Poe, famous for his mysterious and macabre works, tragically died in Baltimore from an illness with symptoms resembling rabies. During his lifetime, Poe served as an artilleryman for Fort Monroe, known then under the alias Edgar A. Perry. It's said that military life did not suit him well, leading him to request a discharge. After leaving the service, he attended the military academy at West Point and revisited Fort Monroe 20 years later, where he was known to read poetry to a young woman. Visitors of Fort Monroe might glimpse his spectral figure on the porch of the Chamberlain Hotel, perhaps reading to the same young lady. Fans of Poe have speculated that his poems, The Raven and Annabel Lee, were inspired by his experiences at Fort Monroe.
It's happening to both of us.
Fort Monroe also reportedly hosts other ghostly figures, including Abraham Lincoln, who resided in quarters number 1 during 1862. This was a pivotal year when he strategized the attack on Norfolk. Today,
I have a problem with him because everybody sees this dude all over the place. He's almost the number one presidential ghost that everybody sees, Abraham Lincoln.
Really?
He's been known to be seen here. His ghost is everywhere. Have you ever noticed that? Like people have been seeing Abraham Lincoln in the White House. They've been seeing him here and here and here. I've seen where he was born and raised. I've been in this cabin. Well, not been. I've been in the area where he was born. I've actually seen where he's buried. For the first place and the second place. And then the only 2 places I would consider him ever being haunted, right? Or roaming if he was, would be the White House, right? And would be the place he grew up in, and maybe his tombstone, his area where
Yeah,
he's buried. Not
right.
all over California. Oh, he's been here, he stayed here.
Like he knows where the portals are, so he's just going to
Right, like,
teleport anywhere he pleases.
I don't
Right.
understand it. Like, I get it. Claim they see a dude in the top hat. Well, back in that era, there's people at the top hat, there's people here, people there,
Hmm.
they can see anybody. I just don't understand that aspect. But I respect it, but I don't understand it. Whatever.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Okay, let's see. This was a pivotal year when he strategized attack on Norfolk. Today, visitors report seeing Lincoln's apparition, often deep in thought by the fireplace. Jefferson Davis, another notable figure associated with Fort Monroe, was imprisoned here in 1865 on charges of treason and conspiring to assassinate Lincoln. Held in a casemate, now part of the Casemate Museum, Davis's ghost is rumored to wander the nearby ramparts at night. Additionally, sightings of a mysterious woman gazing out of the window near the casemate have been reported. I've never heard of a casemate, so forgive me. Some claim the window trembles when her spirit appears. These stories contribute to the rich tapestry of history and mystery that envelops Fort Monroe, making it a fascinating destination for those interested in both the paranormal and historic.
And that's an interesting story. So, a case meat, I need to find out what a case meat is.
Right?
Yeah. I need to brush it up.
Yeah. Edinburgh, I didn't know anything. I just know we have a Poe Park in New York, but it's just a park. Dad played basketball there, street ball. There's a difference between professional and street ball. So rules. Ghostly aircraft. During the following World War II, fighter planes patrolled the skies, often materializing and vanishing among the clouds. A notable incident occurred a year after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The United States Army radar detected an approaching aircraft and immediately scrambled pilots to interpret it. During the United States Army radar detected an approaching aircraft and immediately scrambled pilots to interpret it. The aircraft, identified as an American P-40, which bore numerous bullet holes and had its landing gear gruesomely twisted. Inside, the pilot was seen slumped over, his uniform soaked in blood. Suddenly, the plane plummeted, spiraling uncontrollably before crashing. When recovery teams arrived at the crash site, they discovered the P-40, but mysteriously the pilot's body was nowhere to be found. The Battle of the Alamo. The Battle of the Alamo, occurring in 1836, marked a critical point in the Texan struggle for independence from Mexico. Today, the site in San Antonio stands as a historic landmark, encompassing a cemetery for the remains of soldiers who fell there, many whose bodies were dismembered and discarded in the San Antonio River. Paranormal encounters were reported mere days after the battle concluded, when Mexican General Juan Jose Andrade commanded that the remaining bodies on the battlefield be burned to prevent disease. His men returned terrified by what they encountered. Along the river, they claimed to have seen 6 figures described as diablos or devils looming in front of the Alamo mission. Throughout the years, numerous visitors to the site have reported seeing young boys sprinting across the mission plaza before vanishing, heard the clattering of horse hooves on the pavement, and even witnessed a man and small boy falling from the mission's roof.
Have you ever been there?
No, my sister has, but I have never been there.
I have.
It was nothing to look at. I mean, it was like, my sister's like, and that was about it. She's like,
That's the thing. It might have been cool back in the day. I mean, you see Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, whatever, where you go, that's exactly what it looked like. You
I'm
go
like,
and
you're blinking, and you're like,
and the
okay.
people selling stuff and right across the streets directly, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So this next section, these are stories from actual people that were in the military and were in Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and all kinds of stuff. So this stories that I found on the internet, and I'll post the source that I got from at the end of the video. Just 4 of them. This first one I had to really summarize, so it's not like the full story, but summarizing the story. An anonymous former U.S. Marine recounts her experience as a sniper during the deployment of Fallujah in Iraq in April 2004. They describe engaging enemy forces from a sniper position and recount the intense moment of unaliving an enemy fighter armed with the RPG. The Marine vividly describes the firefight, subsequent death of the enemy, and their emotional reaction to the encounter. After the Marine returns to the base and attempts to rest, they experience a terrifying episode of sleep paralysis, which they interpret as an encounter with the spirit of the enemy they unalived, haunting them as a response to actions in combat. The story highlights the psychological impact, moral complexities faced by the combat people during and after the warfare. So basically, whenever the story, the guy unalived him during battle, and then the a spirit kind of like messed with them at night, and then that's how it was. And they use unaliving a lot, so that's why I had to really summarize it. So I know it's kind of a different one, but he thought it was a spirit that was haunting him at night because he had he had unalived the person, and that's happened before to me. Is sleep paralysis. I'm not saying that this former Marine didn't experience what he experienced. It's happened to me, and I actually saw a figure. So I think what he saw was true because
Gotcha.
it's some scary stuff. So you cannot move at all. You are paralyzed. But yeah. So this next story is called the Tatika incident. So this is from another soldier in 2010. Encountered a mysterious event in the Batika province of Afghanistan. By that time, we had been patrolling the region for approximately 90 days, focusing predominantly on southeastern areas, which is where this particular incident occurred. Our mission that night was to support a battalion operation setting a perimeter to intercept any fleeting targets. As we set out, my Blue Force tracker BFT started malfunctioning, but it managed to correct itself just before I handed over my navigation responsibilities. Amused by the quick fix, I jokingly credited it to the typical lowest bidder. However, as we proceeded, I couldn't shake the feeling that our coordinates were somehow off. Even after double-checking the grid and confirming with higher command, the terrain did not match my previous reconnaissance, which increased my unease. We reached our position, and while setting up, I continued to question my coordinates, confirming yet again by Joint Fires Observer JFO. As I activated my infrared strobe to mark our location, the unexplainable sensation came over me and coming under my skin. Looking up, I expected to see the night sky, but instead observed an enormous object obscuring the stars, reminiscent of a stadium dome sliding close. We had no helicopters or drones in our immediate vicinity that could explain the phenomenon. As it moved at an impossibly slow pace, I reached for my radio. That is the last thing I remember before waking up in a mud hut in daylight, missing several hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Strangely, my equipment was dysfunctional. My Defense Advanced GPS receiver, the AGR, was erratic. My multi-band intra-team radio, NBITR, had stopped working. No one in my unit appeared aware of what had transpired, proceeding as if nothing unusual had happened. I noticed we were a full grid square away from our intended mission location, yet everyone around me remained unfazed. In the weeks following, I sporadically witnessed unexplainable lights in the sky accompanied by the same unsettling humming sensation. Throughout any subsequent loss of time. Years later, during my medical examinations in preparation for my retirement, an X-ray revealed a small metal-like object in my right forearm, resembling a grain of rice to a dark end. Despite its obscure nature, I was told it was likely metal. This object, frustratingly elusive, continued to baffle me as I could seldom locate it to show others. To date, I've never experienced anything similar either in Iraq, Afghanistan, or any location that night. That incident remains unexplained, perplexing episode in my military career. Anonymous U.S. Army soldier.
So this guy got some rice grain of something in his arm
Somehow,
that was causing him humming, but he never got it out. It's aliens. That's all I got.
well,
Aliens.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, how does he do it? Not everybody else. There's no one else around him had
Right.
it, unless he had a mental break or I don't know.
Right.
Like,
I'm
then
like,
he
is
said,
there a scar? How did it get there? I
well,
don't
and then he
know.
said somebody he had an X-ray. They had an X-ray, and he said somebody put it in there. It's like that's weird.
Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this next story called "Don't Come In."
Yeah.
I was stationed in Helmand with the British Army. Our duty involved standing watch, and our company was situated in the valley with our picket position on a ridge nearby. We parked our rover next to this decrepit barn, and my buddy and I had an arrangement. He slept while I stood watch, and then we would sit, and then we would switch. Just as I was about to wake him for his turn, something slammed into our rover. He jolted awake and anxiously asked me what was happening. I assured him that we had moved. It felt like something had rear-ended us. Curious, as we stepped out to investigate, surprisingly, we found no damage. As we were examining the area, we heard sounds of someone violently kicking the walls from inside the barn. The building, made of old tin, seemed abandoned. The door was rusted and the chain shut, making it unclear how anyone could have entered. I instructed my compatriot to fetch the bolt cutters. We called out several times, but received no response. Just as we were about to cut the chain, we heard a whispering voice repeatedly say, "Don't come in." My pal and I exchanged a look and decided we heed the warning. We quickly retreated. Upon returning to base, we reported to our commander that we heard unsettling noises, a voice strongly advising against entry. We waited until morning when the explosive ordnance disposal EOD and team arrived. They opted to cut through the barn's wall and discovered a scene resembling a slaughterhouse. Bones scattered everywhere, with a mine connected to the door. That's crazy. Thankfully, they
Wow.
managed to disarm it. I know, that's wild. And we vacated the area promptly. I would too. I'd be like, I'm out.
Mhm.
A few days later, I discussed the incident with one of our Afghan colleagues, who informed me that the site was traditionally avoided, likely due to its gruesome history involving the Russians slaughtering a village there. This led me to wonder if the whispering voice had been someone wanting us to uncover the site, but without the pearl of triggering the mind. Even now, as I recall the event, a chill runs through.
That's wild. That
Yeah,
is.
bones everywhere. Geez,
Someone saved your life.
someone saved your life today.
Wow.
All right, our last story. It is called The Invisible Man. During my second deployment to Iraq, we were conducting a nighttime small unalived team, SKT, ambushed from a commandeered house overseeing the intersection notorious for IED placements. Our goal was to neutralize those setting the explosives. As dawn approached and we prepared to pack up and have the QRF platoon retrieve us, we spotted a solitary figure carrying an artillery round. It was too bright for night vision, yet still dim for the naked eyes. But we positively identified him as a hostile threat, and I constructed my sniper, who had an M110, to take the shot. The target was only about 175 meters away, and the sniper executed a clean shot to the upper chest. Through my scope, I saw the bullet strike and watch him collapse and fall into the grass at the roadside. He was slender and dressed in a snug athletic shirt. Unprotected by my body armor against a 7.62 NATO round at that range. After confirming that unalive, I radioed the QRF for the extraction and reported the incident to company TOC. As the QRF approached, my team exited the house to gather intel from the body and, if possible, transfer it to the local police station. Yet when we reached the spot, there was no body, no blood, no signs of drag, no IED, absolutely nothing. The absence of any evidence made us look confident, especially since I had already communicated the unalive through the company channels. The incident transformed the ongoing subject of ridicule, but strange occurrences are not uncommon in war. Years later, I encountered a veteran from the unit we replaced. While sharing stories over drinks, I mentioned the intersection known for frequent IED placements. Not disclosing my specific incident, he then recounted a tale eerily similar to mine, involving the SKT who believed they had eliminated the IED emplacer but found no body afterward. His version of the emplacer was barraged with bang from various weapons, making survival seem impossible. Yet in my case, no evidence of the unalive was ever found. What are the odds that two individuals could disappear under such similar circumstances, presumably crawling off unnoticed only to die out of sight? Was it mere coincidence, or could there be some other explanation? As I pondered these questions, the story of the invisible man haunted me. If it wasn't just happenstance, what were we dealing with? A phantom? Had we experienced a collective hallucination? The mystery intrudes upon my sleep, deep, existential questions about life hereafter. Could the invisible man be waiting my arrival in the afterlife? And this is from a soldier. Isn't that wild, though?
Yeah. I mean, either way, these people, if they were taken down like that, they were not getting back up.
No, these people are professionals, snipers.
Yeah, those people are never getting up off the ground again, period. Especially the other one that was being treated like a piece of paper at a gun range.
Exactly.
You ain't getting back up. So
you're not, that is totally wild.
No, this is very interesting. Just the whole thing, just the Abraham Lincoln, all of it, because and in the military, you're going to see a lot of crap.
Yep.
It's a lot. PTSD is no joke.
It's not. Definitely, it's not. So that website that I read those stories, it's AmericanGrit.com. So that's where I read the stories from. And they're actually, so I just didn't make them up or anything. They're actually from actual soldiers in there. And it's Veterans News, and they were from October 1st, 2022. AmericanGrit.com. So that was our special Veterans Paranormal episode. Well, thank you again for hosting this.
You're welcome.
I love you. We love you long time.
Love you too.
If you enjoyed our podcast, let us know by giving us a rating on Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. If you enjoyed our video podcast on YouTube, let us know by leaving a comment. Thank you again to our listeners and viewers. We greatly appreciate it. You can also find us on www.halfhaunted.com. If you have any questions or concerns or have anything spooky to share, feel free to send us a message or an email on halfhauntedpodcast@gmail.com. Until then, stay half haunted.